Good afternoon, welcome to another video. I wanted to make a video about a repair I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So this is a Wilfa Svart Coffee grinder. I really like this grinder. I have two of these, both of them are broken. This one in a box I already took apart 2 years ago. At the time I wasn't able to repair it. As I remember, it was still working, but it was grinding very slowly. It would take like 5 or 10 times longer to grind because it was so slow. Too long ago to remember about how I tried to repair this, but eventually it stopped working at all and now it has no power. This one here, which is the one I'm still using, has an intermittent fault. So when you push the button to grind, it grinds for a couple of seconds and then stop. After it stops, you have to keep pushing the button and it will grind, but it's kind of annoying. So just before I start, I wanted to get a bit of a rant out the way. Once I've finished with the rant, I promise I will go ahead and stop complaining and fix it. But this rant is kind of necessary because, to be honest, I'm not very optimistic about fixing this, and I'll explain why. So this is the original circuit board of the first coffee grinder I tried to repair 2 or 3 years ago, and I can tell you straight away, a lot of the traces you'll see have come loose. Actually it's ripped off. And this has happened almost everywhere on this board. When I tried to remove some capacitors and check them and replace them, I really struggled with this board, and it's nothing to do with I wasn't bothered about the actual components themselves, whether they were good quality or not. I can't really comment on that. The point that I'm ranting about is the board itself is just such low quality. I wasted about 90% of the time just trying to fix these traces so I could even put these back. Okay, so rant's over. I'm gonna put that back in the box. Okay, so what I've done is I've replaced both of these capacitors. Now I can't really comment on the quality of the capacitors. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on this repair, so these are just cheap capacitors from China. I don't know about the longevity. I've always got lots of spares. This is a very high power motor used on the grinder. It's a 220 volt DC, so you really need to be careful. I've got this connected up to the power. I think it's set on the 10 seconds marker on the knob. I'm going to have to put my finger underneath there's a safety catch under here. The coffee grinder will not work if this is not inside. That should take the safety off. This is the power button. Let's turn that up. It seems like it's working now. When you put these capacitors in, make sure that the legs are pushed in far enough. Make sure that these are quite tightly soldered in. Sometimes they put some silicone around these capacitors to reduce the vibration. I'm just going to use some regular silicone. Everything on the board seems okay now. I'm going to try to reassemble this now, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. We've reached the end of the video. I did have a couple of problems. One is partially my fault. They have not designed this easy to repair. In fact, I would say it's quite the opposite. If you remember at the beginning, I removed this metal plate. So if you do remove this plate, or this plate becomes detached from the plastic housing, you just need to remember to put that back before you secure it with the screws. Otherwise you won't be able to fit this over the plastic. I had such trouble, I ended up causing a little bit of damage. The other problem I had, when you put the hopper back, you need to make sure it's aligned properly. This is not aligned properly. It's kind of offset. These are no longer aligned with the proper settings. I should be able to figure out how much I've offset this so I can get the right setting. Just remember that if you're brave enough to try and repair this.